Every morning I walk across the Hawthorne Bridge before the city wakes. It's quiet at 5 a.m., just the hum of the river and the faint creak of steel under my boots. I've been a structural inspector for Portland for 12 years, long enough to start hearing the bridge breathe. She shifts when the temperature drops, exhales when the fog burns off, and hums with the footsteps of 1,000 commuters I'll never meet. My name's Aaron. I'm 45, divorced, and renting a small one-bedroom on SE 12th that smells faintly of coffee and dust. My son, Noah, 16, lives mostly with his mom across the river. Every Saturday we meet for breakfast at a diner off Division. Pancakes, same booth, same conversation. We talk about basketball and college prep, avoid the topic of what happened. Divorce becomes easier when you keep the words light. The job used to feel simple. I was the guy who kept the bones of the city from breaking. My father was a machinist. He used to say, "Everything man builds, gravity wants back." I guess that's why I joined engineering, because fighting gravity felt like meaning. But lately, I've been losing faith. Every year, the budgets shrink. We're told to monitor, not replace. You can't patch over corrosion with optimism. Last winter, the storms hit harder than usual. Rain, freeze, thaw, then freeze again. I watched concrete spall like scabs peeling from skin. My supervisor, Hal, told me, "Don't panic people with your reports. Just flag what's critical." I asked what critical meant. He said, "Whatever doesn't get us sued." That night, I drove home through the rain and saw the bridges glowing red in the mist. They looked tired. So was I. Then came Claire, 28, new intern, eager and sharp. The kind who doesn't know yet how dangerous curiosity can be in city work. We were up on the Selwood Bridge when she asked, "Do you ever get scared?" I told her, "Only when I stop paying attention." It wasn't true. I'm scared all the time. Scared of what breaks. Scared of what doesn't until it's too late. By March, I'd logged more fractures than I'd seen in years. Weld seams rusted through, bearings misaligned. Hal said, "Budget's frozen till July." I said, "Then hope the steel waits too." That night, I sat by the window and watched the Willamette swallow reflections of the bridges. I realized the city doesn't fail all at once. It fails in silence, one crack at a time, while men like me keep filling out reports no one reads. April began with rain that never ended. I carried my clipboard like a shield, trudging through drizzle, checking rivets, noting rust blooms that looked like bruises. Claire followed, snapping photos, asking questions I didn't have the heart to discourage. "If you see something that bad," she asked, "what do you do?" I said, "Document it." She frowned. "That's all." I didn't answer. She already knew. Hal started calling me the alarmist. I took it as a compliment. I'd rather be alarmist than apologist. The morning it happened, I was halfway across the Hawthorne, light rain misting my visor. A cyclist whizzed past. A couple argued softly near the railing. The river below swollen from weeks of runoff. I stopped mid-span, crouched to check a weld seam flagged 2 months earlier. The rust had deepened. I tapped it with a wrench hollow. Then I heard it. A metallic pop, deep and sick, like a bone giving way. "Off the bridge!" I shouted, waving at the cyclist, the couple, anyone who'd listen. The second crack came, sharper, echoing under the deck. My stomach dropped. I grabbed my radio, static. No signal. I sprinted toward the center span, yelling until my throat burned. Cars braked, horns blared. Confusion spread faster than fire. Then I saw it, a lower truss sagging just enough to make the deck flex. The driver of a silver sedan slammed brakes too late. The car teetered, nose hanging over the drop. I lunged forward, waving people back, and by sheer luck, a passing pickup hooked its bumper, pulling it to safety. A second later, a sound like thunder rolled beneath us. The structure held but barely. By the time emergency units arrived, the bridge was closed. Engineers in reflective vests swarmed the site. Claire found me sitting on the guardrail, hands shaking. "You called it," she said quietly. "You saved them." I nodded, but my stomach turned. Saving people wasn't the same as fixing what almost killed them. Hal showed up red-faced, sweating through his shirt. Nobody's fault, he kept saying. Weather stress, deferred maintenance. I stared at him and thought, no, Hal, it's everyone's fault who pretends this is fine. That night I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. The sound replayed in my head, the bridge crying out like a wounded thing, begging someone to listen before it broke for good. The city launched an internal review. They called it a learning opportunity. What it really was, damage control. They suspended Hal, reassigned me to desk work. I should have felt vindicated, but all I felt was drained. Bureaucracy doesn't care about warnings. It cares about headlines. Claire kept visiting, bringing coffee and field notes, whispering updates like we were in a secret war. They're already rewriting the report, she said one afternoon, making it sound like the crack wasn't that bad. I laughed bitterly. If it wasn't that bad, why did it nearly collapse? She had no answer. Neither did anyone else. Desk duty nearly killed me. Sitting in a cubicle while other crews handled inspections felt like watching my city rot in real time. I started walking the bridge before sunrise, unofficially. The fog would cling to the towers like ghosts, and I'd trace the railings with my fingers, feeling for vibration. She still stood, scarred but proud. The old girl had survived worse, but she shouldn't have had to. One morning, I ran into a cyclist who stopped, recognized me, and said quietly, "Thanks for what you did that day." I nodded, unsure how to respond. Gratitude doesn't erase fear. It just covers it for a moment. Noah visited that weekend. 16, earbuds in, always half in another world. "You still mad about work?" he asked. I said, "I'm not mad. I'm tired of fighting uphill." He shrugged. "Then stop climbing." I smiled. "Can't. The view's too important." I started keeping a notebook, a diary of cracks and failures, both structural and human. Claire called it Aaron's Bible of broken things. Inside, I recorded every ignored warning, every denied budget request, every night I couldn't sleep. It wasn't bitterness, it was proof. Proof that someone was still paying attention. When Claire texted me a picture of a new fracture under the Fremont, I told her, "Send it in." She said, "They'll ignore it." I replied, "Then we'll send it again." For the first time in months, I felt steady. You can't fix everything, but you can refuse to look away. By autumn, the city finally approved a major retrofitting project. They called it proactive resilience. I called it belated conscience. They offered me my old post back. I accepted, not because I trusted them, but because the bridges deserved better watchers. My first morning back, the Willamette lay still beneath a pale sunrise. Fog hugged the water, and the steel beams glistened with dew. I walked midspan, running my hand along the railing I'd once feared would fail. The weld had been reinforced, seamless now. The bridge hummed quietly beneath me, alive again. Claire had moved on to a private firm. Hal retired. The department felt emptier, but lighter too. Standing there, I opened my old notebook and flipped to the last page. I added one more entry. Not a report, but a promise. My list, my line in the steel. Report every crack, even when no one's listening. Don't wait for permission to save a life. Bureaucracy breaks faster than metal. Walk the bridge even when it scares you. Teach your kid that integrity isn't inherited, it's built. Listen when steel speaks. It always warns before it snaps. Fix what you can reach. Forgive what you can't. I leaned over the railing, watching sunlight spill through the fog, warming the water to gold. The city stirred awake. Bikes, buses, footsteps, all crossing the structure that had nearly given way. It felt fragile, like everything I loved. Sometimes resilience isn't grand. It's just showing up again. Standing where it almost broke, trusting that this time it'll hold.